Whoa!
Ooh, welcome back, everybody. We just made it to the next area, the Profane capital. And we're going to actually do a massive detour. You can, if you want, just take this ladder and walk across this bridge, fight a few enemies, and you'll be right in front of the boss fog gate. So you can just zoom right there if you so choose. It's actually the next Lord of Cinder. But we are going to get many items, some of which are required for all the achievements. Instead, we're gonna slide down here, and we're gonna leave via this giant hole in the wall. And you just drop down, and I'm gonna check over here, but if I remember right, it's New Game Plus that has the item down here. Yeah, okay. So come back up, and be prepared to fight this gargoyle. Now this one has a mallet that he likes to swing, and the only thing to be careful about the mallet, put your shield down, is that it causes, that little fireballs to spurt out. These guys you want to patrol around to the left because that's their open side, past their shield. Usually I like to circle around to the right. This one you want to go around the left so you can get around their shield. Climb up this ladder. And we can finally get this item you might have seen taunting you up on this window sill. For some rusted coins, drop in and then leave through the big hole again. Now we're going to continue straight and up this wooden walkway, because there's nothing over there. As you move forward, you might get excited to see a crystal lizard, but don't sprint forward as there is a hole in the floor that will drop you down into a poison pool filled with those long-haired, mini-handed demon ladies. Spider things. Instead, take a left and come this way. And when you take a right, you'll see another crystal lizard, and this one you can chase down. So do so quickly. Get some twinkling titanite, and you'll see the item there, but don't rush forward to get that either for the same reason. There's another pitfall in front of you up the stairs. Instead, turn right to find the crystal lizard from earlier, and you can now get a straight shot to it. Go forward, and then you can turn left to get the item without falling in the trap. So there it is. And there's the poison pool. And you can hear the little demon enemies down below. And you get a sweet rusted gold coin. And now we can head forward to the poison pool itself. Go all the way to the right for an item. Some blooming purple moss clumps, which cures toxic instead of poison. We're going to drop down and rush to this little island so we don't get poisoned, because this one fills you up with toxic. Ow. When you land, those two enemies will spring forth. Just take care of them. Heal up. And normally I suggest just suffering through the toxic and using your Estus Flask to keep your health up. But toxic drains your health a lot faster than poison does. So let's actually switch our equipment. We don't need our shield to be 100%, so we can use the spider shield. And I'm going to go through each one of these and pick the armor that has the highest poison resistance. I'm looking at the right column, second number, whichever one has the highest one of those. Looks to be the painted guardian garb. So I'm going to go through and put on the painted guardian clothes, and then each time I'll just quickly scroll through, see if there's anything that beats it. Nope. Oops. Nope. There's tons of stuff that beat it in legs category. Don't worry about if there's a tie, just pick whichever one, it doesn't matter. And we might want to also switch the sage ring for the poison bite ring. Really get that poison resist way up. See, now it's huge. Now we're gonna run forward to this island. There's another enemy that might spring forth. There it is. And while we're here, actually, I should have done this earlier. Let's go ahead and equip blooming purple moss clumps just in case. Alright, when everything dies down, we're gonna do a mad dash into this little cave where all the demons are. And on the right-hand side will be an item that we desperately need. Rush in, kill anyone. There are no safety nets, so you just have to sprint through. You will get toxic but you can get the curse bite ring. Kill that, and along the wall on the right is another item that we're gonna get. Just keep an eye on your health so that you don't accidentally die to the toxic. Use a purple blooming moss clump if you're extremely scared. And we can grab a poison gem. And then we'll rush back out. And when you're on dry land, we can use the purple blooming purple moss clump. And heal up if you need to. And we can switch all our stuff back. Just for that one thing. Super fun. Oop. Hang on, we gotta change our ring. Let's do that first. I always like to change the rings first to see. What did we have? I don't even remember. I think we had the Sorcerer's Trousers, the Fallen Knight Gauntlets. Good enough. If you want to spend some extra time trying to min-max those physical damage resistances, it never hurts. But you want to run over here and grab this, you can kill this thing if you want. There's another one over there if you want, but I'm going to ignore it. Come back to the original island. And now we got another long trek. But there is a staircase on the right around the corner there that acts as dry land. So I'm going to wait for my toxic to die all the way down, and I'm going to sprint towards the stairs, which is going to alert the demon on my left. So go. Don't go too far in. Also because there's a door, so don't worry about it too much. Take care of this one. And then play the waiting game again for the toxic to die down. We're going to go to the right where there's that item, but there's also another demon right there in the corner. So grab the item and then run back to the stairs and take on the demon. And we go. Grab it. Dodge roll is probably the best bet. And then let's kill that. Now, you are definitely going to want to heal up for this next fight. Because inside of here is a new giant hand-headed beast. You'll see what I mean when you see it. It's a beast with a hand for a head. And they take so much damage to kill. And deal so much damage. So you want to stay way far away from it. But they're very slow, so you can use your Great Chaos Fire Orbs instead of the Chaos Bed Vestiges. If you want to... And if you get lucky, though, you can stun it and then run up and get a critical. But you want to stay very far away from them. If they raise up, just back away. This is a case of keep backing away even into the poison pit. If you get toxic, just use a blooming purple moss clump. Fight them out here if you have to. Do not fight them in the church because there are 2 more sleeping, and we definitely want to take them on one at a time. But you can pick up the dung pie they leave and the Eleonora that it drops. Then we're ready to take on the next one. Again, you want to do it one at a time, so pick the one on the right because it's closer. But don't get too close. Oh, I pulled both of them. Back away, you do not want to get grabbed by that. It's almost instant death. So don't worry if you get toxic hit. And hiya. Get what they leave behind. Let's sprint to the stairs again. Use our blooming purple moss clump. And we've done it. And now we can head all the way to the back for 3 Purging Stone. Purging Stone, by the way, helps with curse, reduces undead curse buildup, and cures hollowing. So you, if you're following along with me, do not want to use this at all. Having hollowing is how we achieve the usurpation of fire ending. You have to have, I think, at least 8. No, not 8. You need to have the dark sigils. So actually, I'd have to look that up. Don't look up the Purging Stones. I'll look that up for next episode. Because you have to have 8 dark sigils for the... Where are my dark sigils? They're there. You have to have 8 dark sigils for the usurpation of fire ending. So you don't want to heal your dark sigils with the Firekeeper. But I don't know if the Purging Stone does that, or does it just cure hollowing? I'll have to look that up. Either way, we're going to come back out now and cut left and around, and we're going to head up this ramp and up this ladder. We get to the roof. On the roof, I don't think there's anything. There's some stairs over here, but before we do that, there's a couple more items inside this hole we want to get, including another one of those ogres. So let's switch back over to here, switch back over to my Ashen Estus flask, and start firing away. Now this one you want to try to keep in the room. He likes to roll over. You are not safe anywhere around him. Just don't get near him, because if you get behind him, he will just raise up and try to flatten you with his back. If you get to the side of him, he'll roll over like that. So there really is no safe place. You do drop a ton of experience, though. In here you get some Court Sorcerer garb, and I think, yes, there is a treasure chest behind here, but as if the ogres weren't enough, this is actually a mimic. So let's stab it a few times. I think it's a walking one instead of a crawling one. So again, you just stay close to it. And apparently, after 8 hits, it staggers, so on that 9th one, you can just go for it. And you get the Court Sorcerer's. And we can go down to get this item that you might have seen while fighting the gargoyle with the hammer back at the Profane Capital Tower, which we are now staring at. Just some rubbish, though. And now, yeah, I don't think there's anything in there, so backtrack to the roof, and now we're going to take those stairs we skipped. Up the stairs, switch to Pyromancer's Flame and Chaos Bed Vestiges, because up these stairs and up this roof is an NPC. And he likes to cast magic and hit you with a giant hammer. And his magic does a lot of damage. As with any and all NPCs, keep your distance and just hit them with Chaos Bed Vestiges. And he goes down pretty easy, but don't be fooled because he can kill you very quickly. And he drops Logan's Scroll, which if I recall correctly is the last scroll in the game. So, we can now drop down on top of the altar that the last ogre was in front of, through that hole in the tower, to get the Wrath of the Gods miracle. Drop back down, and we're going to go back up those same stairs. And you might be able to see in here, or not in there, it was in a different area, you could see Sigvard trapped in a cell. And to get there, you can jump from this roof to that section. Right through this window. Might take a couple of tries. Nope. It's hard to get that trajectory correct. But you want to jump in there, climb up these stairs. And you can use the old cell key to open up his cell.
Once eyes take them.
And he gives you the final fruits of our labors for helping Sigvard this entire time. The reason to do his entire quest line is to get an extremely rare and much needed Titanite slab. Make sure you exhaust his dialogue and take our other awesome item in here, the covetous gold serpent ring, which increases our item discovery. That's going to be extremely useful when we get to our farming section at the end of this entire walkthrough. Leave the way you came, you can just drop back down on top of those stairs. Let me do a quick once around real quick to make sure I don't miss anything. I'm pretty sure that's it up here. I think yes, aha. I was like, I think there's one item on the roof somewhere. But it's just some poison arrows. So grab them if you want. Travel back and let's continue on. Let me go ahead and fashion Estus Flask up. And we're actually back in the ethereal dungeon. You might hear some noises because there's actually some secret enemies right here. Two extremely sneaky jailers. So strafe around them and take care of them. And we're going to come down this way. And the goal is to jump down this section to take on the giant. But before you do that, march a little bit forward for an item. A extremely important jailer's keyring. We'll be using that in just a second. So now what we're going to do is we're going to drop down. As you might see, this place is actually littered with rats. So what you want to do, because some of them are facing you, usually there'll be one. Go ahead and lock onto him. We're going to drop kick him. And then you're going to sprint kind of over. I don't know if you can see that quarter archway over there. But we're going to sprint around the corner of it. That gets us safe from the giant, and we can pull all of the rats around the corner with us and take them on one at a time. So let's drop down. See, we got two, so we're lucky. Sprint. And there's the archway. Take a right. Kind of head up those stairs. Now the giant can't hit us anymore. And we can just take on, in this small, narrow walkway, this endless sea of rats. And let's heal up. And now the bad thing about this is these rats will just keep coming from some of these tunnels. There is a finite amount of them, but trust me, it won't feel that way. It'll feel like they just keep coming forever. So what I like to do is take several stabs at the giant, and then when I notice some of the rats emerging, I'll retreat back to this little hidey hole. The giant doesn't heal himself yet. See, there's one of the rats right there. So like 5-ish, and then let's sprint back. And the giant actually resets. Usually like 1 stamina bar's worth of attacks is enough. Retreat. The giant will reset. Again, I don't think he's healing himself. Should probably check that. Also remember, the giants are not difficult. They just take a lot of damage. Eventually, though, you'll get them. Clean up any rats that might still be coming out. Just be vigilant. And I also like to not loot anything till we get rid of them all. See, they just keep coming. There we go. Get this one. Ow. Now I'll start looting, because we get plenty of large titanite. Ooh, and a titanite chunk. That was from the giant himself. And a pyromancy needed for the achievement, the Profane Flame. This is actually one of the better ones. Feel free to try that out. It creates a little swirling vortex that goes towards the enemy. And so now, let me think. Let me remind myself what's down this pathway. There is an elevator here you can take that will lead to a shortcut. All the way back to the original bonfire of Irithyll dungeon. Let's rest at that. And then, to get some items, we're actually going to go right back down that elevator. I was just checking something there. Now the rats have respawned, but the giant not so much. So you can take the time to kill them again, but we're just going to go up those stairs that we funneled all the rats into earlier. You don't want to get rid of any rats chasing you, because there's a small fight up ahead. But you don't have to go back to take care of all of the rats in the room. They won't follow you up here. And we have another mimic. So let's take him out. Dodge. I thought he always started off with a grab, but I guess not. Again, if you've been following me 100% of the way, and on that third hit after he rises, we'll always stagger him, and he drops some Dragon Slayer arrows, and then we can climb up this ladder. This takes you to an area with a little window that you just want to drop down. And then we want to sprint and jump across these awnings to that item over there. Which is easier said than done. But just line yourself up, sprint, and click that left stick. Pillage the lightning bolts, and then you might hear the telltale sign of a crystal lizard, which is here when we drop down from this awning over to here. You can open this door for a little shortcut. that we're never ever going to use. And then back behind us, there's the crystal lizard in the pile of bones. Let's get rid of him for a Titanite chunk. Grab that soul. Don't think there's anything up here. This is just to drop back down and go to the rat tunnel. Nothing down there, so let's climb into here. Where there's a ladder around to the left. Climb up this. Ow. And you're back in the room with the million hollows. Ow. So maybe do this a little more carefully than I am. In fact, let's do this. Kill several birds with one stone. Or several hollows with one fireball. I don't know. Ow. Alright. They didn't drop anything. Let's heal up. And now we are back at the end of that stairway that after the first section of Irithyll dungeon that had these two hollows. Let's take care of them. Then this one. And remember there's one sitting on the pillar on the left. There he is. And now this is where that crystal lizard was that I happened to miss. So if you got it, it won't be here, but I'm going to use this opportunity to try again. There he is. You just have to be careful of the enemy that is in a cell on the right that tries to ambush you. There he is. I'm going to sprint right past him. Oh, there it is. Got rid of him. And he drops a Titanite scale. So if you miss that crystal lizard, it's no big deal. Get rid of that guy. Guess we can get rid of this guy while we're at it. Because why not? Okay, so now the goal is to walk around to this area and use the jailer's key ring or whatever it was called. Oh, no, I got it right. To unlock all of the cells that were locked in my previous episode. So let's walk around. Remember, these are alive. Ow. And also remember that there are 3 jailers in this room right here. So if we want to kill this, maybe do it from afar. And in fact, it might behoove you to do the same with the jailers. Uh-oh. See how much my max health went down? Alright, actually we can get rid of the purple blooming moss clumps now. Blooming purple, I keep getting those words mixed up. Okay, there was nothing in here. I mean, you can kill this guy again. Ow. Kill that guy again if you want. Let's heal up now that my health is back to normal. Ooh, and he dropped something. Yeah, I was like, sometimes they drop their soldering irons. Alright. So I'm just going to walk up and down these, because I'm not exactly certain where the locked ones were. Nope. I'm going to sprint down this way to kill that guy real quick. I'll turn around to take care of any hollows that might have noticed me. There's 3 in there. He dropped an item. Okay, so no locked cells in here, so let's just take care of this guy when he gets closer. And as long as he's far enough away from the other jailer on the other side of this walkway, you can go ahead and rush him. Now let's take care of this. And then take care of the 3 hollows that come a-crawling. Yeah, it's like there's the 3rd one right there, so... There we go. Now, what else we got? Nothing there. So let's head down this way. Take care of this. And here, I'll go ahead and drop down right here. Be careful though, because remember the giant guy right there. He likes to swing first and ask questions later. But if you just hit him with fire, he flips out. So point is, get his attention and then back up, avoid his first swing. Then you can rush in and take care of him. Alright. Up there, a dude there. So, the first thing we can open with the jailer's keyring is this 2-sided gate where both sides were locked, or the prisoner chief's ashes. I'm actually going to ignore these cages just so I can... Oh, crappity. Plan B. Let's run up the stairs and drop down on the jailer. There we go. I was trying to get him just through the cages without having to fight him, but they said no. Alright, heal up. We're going to head back to the bonfire area, where we can now open any and all jail cells that were previously locked. So, this one. That one's already open, as is that one, and that one, and that one, and that one. So it's just that. And now you can rest if you need to, but I suggest you don't. Because since we've cleared out all the enemies, we're going to have to run back through this area. And it's nice to not have to kill everything again. So only rest if you have to. Because now we're going to backtrack all the way through here, and you can actually just drop down on the left. You can take the stairs if you want to avoid fall damage, and since you killed everything. But I'm lazy, so just hiya. Go through that gate we opened, the door, and we're taking that elevator, which is not here, so let's pull the lever. That leads back to that room with the 6 or 7 jailers wandering around in a circle. It's time to free that NPC I pointed out last video. So we're going all the way. Let's equip our Chaos Bed vestiges. We're going to start tearing through these jailers. And if you're lucky, you get multiples of them. Careful of the little dragon thingies in the room to our left there. Is that all the jailers? Nope, one more. Thought so. And now be careful here when we go to kill this other jailer, because now that this gate is open, this ghoul can come right through when he sees you. When the gate was closed, he would just stand there even if he saw you, but now not so much. Hey, another soldering iron. Speaking of that, did any of these jailers drop anything? Yeah, I'll check on the way back. Alright, all that work is for something very important. Freeing Carla.
Oh, I thought you'd all be good to know that.
Continuously talk to her
This
and offer help.
but I'm getting stats.
And when she says, but I'm evil, do you want to save me anyway? Yes, say yes. You will teleport back to Firelink Shrine, which is now where we're going to go. And embarrassingly, I accidentally sold all my homeward bones last episode, so gonna do it the long way. Okay, so where are we at here? The most important thing is we have freed Carla. So come around to this little alcove right here, kind of on the other side of where Cornix is over there, and talk to her.
Ah, as I said. Now, the only thing, although my that wouldn't. You're a wicked one. Very well. Some may have be careful. Let it be.
And you can now give her either pyromancy tomes or divine tomes. The ones that were too dark or out of reach of Cornix and Irina, they can be given to her. So any of the deep or dark divine tomes, or the Grave Warden and Quilana pyromancy tomes, are supposed to be saved up for her. So give her all those. You have to do it a couple of times. And now you can learn her dark sorceries. These are great for us because, as I've said in previous episodes, we're going to be dealing mostly fire damage, but for any of the enemies that are resistant to fire, we have dark spells. The main one being Black Fire Orb. That is going to be our fireball for dark damage. Another thing I like to mention is Rapport, which charms the enemy, making them a temporary ally. It brainwashes them. The problem with it is you have to be extremely close range, like melee range. Like fist melee range. And it has a non-zero casting time. It kind of takes a little bit to cast. If you can sneak up on things, though, and pull it off, then it's extremely useful. And there's actually an amazing soul farming technique using this spell. So, if you're interested in farming for souls in a later area, then pick it up. Or if you just like having fun and turning enemies against each other. It's definitely a good one. If you're trying to keep things simple, then just buy the Blackfire Orb. You may talk to her if you want, but
there is one that don't stir up any trouble.
it's always a good habit to exhaust all dialogue from all NPCs, and then we can give the Golden Scroll, the Logan Scroll,
Back again, I suppose.
to Orbeck.
Oh my. This is a scroll, a masterful, and now we have it. Come again.
And I was mistaken when we picked that up. There is one more that I just remembered. One more scroll. Alright, and that should be everything, right? What do I got here? No shards to speak of. Finally got some more Titanite chunks and a Titanite slab, so let's see where that gets us. And we don't have any more. Oh, the ashes, though. We should give the ashes up. So here, let's go ahead and do that. And we can go ahead and sell stuff before we upgrade things.
Gracious. Passing fine, I only...
So let's sell dung pies. I'll keep my purging stones for now, just in case. I'll look it up. Sell rubbish, sell souls. Sell gems. We don't need gems anymore now that we have achieved the Master of Infusion achievement. Sell any Titanite that's not your standard Titanite. You can sell any weapons you've received. That's not our 2 main weapons. Same for this. And keep everything else. Ah, hang on. Let's unequip all those arrows. Keep the bolts around though, just in case. But let's get rid of those. And then we can sell them.
Ashen one.
Okay, and we got the Blackfire Orb, correct? Yes. So now let's do some upgrading. Actually, we should have done this when we infused the longsword with a dark gem. We should have gone ahead and upgraded it as much as we can anyway. But let's do that now. And actually, hold that thought, because we want to upgrade the Pyromancer's Flame first. So we need 2 more Titanite chunk for that.
Do not be gone for long.
So I'm not going to upgrade my broadsword because that requires Titanite chunks. But the longsword is just shards, and then large shards. And I'm going to stop there. And don't worry, by the time we finish this first playthrough, we will have more than enough Titanite chunks to upgrade everything to its full potential.
Welcome home, I speak thine.
Let's level up.
Then touch take no.
And since we hit our last milestone, where does that leave us now? I believe we want to start cycling between doing attunement twice, and then intelligence, and then faith. Until we get our attunement to 30. And I actually like doing that backwards. Let's do intelligence and faith, and then we're going to do attunement twice. And we're going to do that 3 times.
Farewell, Ashley.
Okay, now let's go take on the boss. To take on the boss, we're going to descend to this ladder, and things get a little difficult here. Because that torch back there will start shooting fireballs at us from a distance. They track extremely well. So keep your shield up and slowly march towards it and dodge if you see it coming. And try to pull this gargoyle back up here so that we can avoid the fireballs. It's very difficult to fight the gargoyle on a small bridge with a bunch of fireballs. Bring him back to this large area, and then you can take him on a much more fair fighting ground. And with him gone, you can now sprint towards the other side. But again, keep your shield up for that reason. And stop by this item. And get our item on the left here. Move forward, and we will have 4 white cleric hollows. I'm not sure what to call them. But you also have, I'm not sure where he is exactly up here, but if you step forward down these stairs, you will trigger a gargoyle. Where is he? Nope. Ah, I was like, I hear him. Drops down right on top of you. Ah, I hit the wing. Oh. Irithyll and Ashen. Now these guys are annoying because they can fling fire at you and also do like a little ray of fire that lasts for like 2 seconds. And it's hard to pull them one at a time. And they take a surprising amount of damage. So there's the spray of fire I mentioned. Try your best. Ow. Try your best not to get hit too much. Use your spells if you want to, because you're not going to need very many of them for the boss. So do not... In fact, it might be better to use your spells, because you want more Estus flasks than you do Ashen ones for the boss fight. This is a very strange boss fight. Before you approach those clerics, keep in mind that there is a spear-wielding gargoyle on the right there. You want to approach, maybe even take care of one of them, which you can do from a distance. But the closer you get, you will trigger the gargoyle. Ow. There we go. And now let's start whittling down these guys. Woohoo. And what have we here? Ooh, nice. And a handmaid's dagger. Don't open up any of these chests yet. Take care of these enemies first. Be careful of those treasure chests because I almost want to say they are both mimics. I know this one on the left is. So back up when you fight them so that you don't trigger the other. Unless the other one is not even a mimic. I don't remember. And you get the Great Shield of Glory. But this is why it is a mimic. So you want to make sure you fight them separately. And this one gives you 2 rusted gold coins. And now if I remember right, this one's not a mimic, but never hurts to check. That one has an ember. Okay, couple more things to do, and then we're ready for the boss. Let's switch back over to the pyromancy, and then we can kill the clerics that were shooting fire at us from the bridge. Alright, and now that's all the enemies between you and the boss. All that's left is a few more items, and then we're ready to go. One of which being down the stairs and on the right. Another one being all the way to the end. Make sure you be careful though, because it is at the edge of a giant drop-off that will kill you, so don't rush too close. And then lastly, we have to run all the way back to the tower. While you're on this bridge, where it's collapsed a little bit on the left, or the right if you're heading from the bonfire, you can actually drop down onto this giant archway, and behind us is an item. And then you can start dropping down these little crumbled up platforms. And you can drop down this way. And we're back. So, normally I would say instead of using an Estus flask if you need to heal, use an ember because you want to make sure that you're embered up for this fight. But we're already embered, so Estus flask it is. If you have been following along, then you should have completed Sigward's quest. You need to complete Sigward's quest in order to take on this boss without the help of an online player. If you did not complete Sigward's quest, you either need to summon someone from online who has a particular weapon, they should know which weapon they need, or you have to go back and finish Sigward's quest. If you have, though, you are ready to go. Just transverse the fog. After a cutscene where Sigward shows up, he will bring what's called the Storm Ruler, which is the Achilles heel for this boss. It causes a whirlwind that triggers that, because your attacks deal no damage. So the goal of this fight is to pull aggro off of Sigward while he does that, until the boss finally dies. He is a giant though, so he has large swings that are very telegraphed. After a couple hits though, he ignites. Becomes a little more aggressive. You just want to make sure you have his aggression. Because the more he hits Sigward, the less chances Sigurd has to do the special whirlwind attack. So like I said, just get his attention. Use spells if you need to. Ooh, and be careful, because he hits like a truck, as you might imagine. Wow, I think I just missed with 3 spells in a row. There we go. Let me heal up. Leave him alone. Dang it. There we go. See how it does like no damage. We just keep this up. One more ought to do it. Woohoo. Bam. And now when he dies, you need to do some things quickly because you're about to trigger a cutscene. One, the bonfire lights itself, so that's good.
It seems
Mostly you want to talk to Sigurd. You get, last thing is Sigbrow. So make sure you talk to him.
the only you are.
And he falls back asleep. And we get a cutscene. After the cutscene, you will be teleported back to the very first section of the game, the High Wall of Lothric. Emma, High Priestess Emma, who gave you the blue sentinels and the banner that lets you travel to the undead settlement, is now lying in a pool of blood. Be careful about talking to her, though, because that will trigger a second boss fight. Yep, right after we just had one. You're probably already hurting, so my advice is to either homeward bone back to Firelink Shrine. Once you get back to Firelink Shrine, let's sell some stuff. We can sell the Sigbrow, we can sell an Ember, Dong Pies, a bunch of souls. Some weapons.
Ashen one.
And do some leveling.
Very well, then take nourish.
So let's go to attunement.
Farewell, Ashen may the flame.
And before we travel back to Fort, which will get us back to the boss fight, this next boss fight, let's travel back to Yhorm the Giant. Back at the previous boss fight arena, in front of his throne is a Storm Ruler, not a Storm Raider. That is the weapon that Sigurd was using to do the whirlwind attack. So we now do not need him if we ever have to fight Sigurd again. Yhorm. Then at the other end, if, again, you finished Sigurd's quest, he leaves his pierce shield and his own storm ruler. And his armor. So with all that, we're gonna travel back to Vort of the Boreal Valley. Second boss of the entire game. And when we return, we will head all the way back up the stairs to take on the next boss. Until then, stay safe.